I'm going to live the rest of my life and never achieve anything I wanted to achieve in life because I'm just doing the same things over and over. I'm waking up telling myself the same things every day, and I'm basically just like not moving the needle forward in any type of way.
All right, guys. Thank you. Yellow colored glasses. We are here. I'm here with Johnathan Kohrs. That's what I thought. Okay. Episode 78. So, as you guys know, before we get started, we're going to read a review. Reviews is a huge thing with everything we do on a day-to-day basis with Warren Amounts Agency. So if you guys haven't done that yet, please go and do that, good or bad. It helps us out way more than anybody can ever imagine. So, quick one. Bailey T says, Michaela was very quick at responding and explained everything very well. I'm very pleased with this Warren Amounts Agency and would highly recommend them to everyone. Thank you, Bailey. Means a ton. Like I said, guys, the reviews and everything we do here, bad word travels a lot faster than good. So anytime you can get the good word out there, that helps us a ton. So, and bad word is good too. It's all good. But yeah. So, Johnathan, thanks, man. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
I've been seeing your stuff a lot, and I know we know each other a little bit. It's probably been how long ago was when we first met? That's like 5 years ago, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Like that was that first flip. First, you helped us with all of our flips, and then our basement.
Yeah, I'd say probably 2019.
Yeah, so that had been So coming up on 5 years. So known each other, worked with each other a little bit, but seeing your stuff, man, you're freaking killing it. You look amazing. So I'm excited to get into all of this. But before we do, like I talked about, let's do a peek in a pit. I feel like sometimes you always see, the highlight films on everybody on social media. So this is another reason why we do this, is to get into the actual shit that we go through on a day-to-day basis. So a peek. Can we go first?
Yeah. Sure.
All right. So a peek for me. And I don't know if you guys have been listening to the other podcasts before, but this has been a big pit of mine recently, is my routine. So when the holidays were here, we had Thanksgiving and then Christmas, and then we were doing end-of-year planning. Just completely got out of out of my routine with my day-to-day stuff when it comes to the gym, when it comes to eating right, working, just all of that. So we went out to Vegas at the beginning of this year, took another employee, and went to a conference. And after that conference, we got back on track with meal prepping and getting into the gym, getting a good morning routine, all that good stuff. So back on track. It hasn't been every day. I missed like 2 days last week with the routine, but I always tell myself it's better than zero. So now this day we're gonna do 6 days this week at minimum, and next week it'll be full 7. So anyways, that's a peak on my end, is that routine. We're getting the routine back, and it's been fun. I feel way better.
Awesome.
So what about you?
It's awesome. Really, man, honestly the same. My morning routine and my daily progress and my process and my program is that's everything, dude. It's completely saved my life. And without that, I just wouldn't be able to function every day.
It's so wild how those little things can just.
So getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
Sometimes 3:30, but hardly ever past 4 o'clock is it's a game changer.
It is
life changing.
It is, and I'm not even. I wake up I try to get up at 5. Right when my alarm goes off at 5, and I tell myself I need to get up right when that alarm goes off. I'm gonna try to I'm up by 5:10. Right, so. But dude, even that, because I'm not a big morning guy. I'm always usually a night owl. So anyways, 4 o'clock, man, that's a freaking
I'm the same way, dude.
Cool.
That was throughout this entire process, I still struggle with getting to bed at a decent time.
Okay.
So that morning wake up isn't so bad. Even the last 5 years of just grinding out my other company, I'd work till midnight, 1, 2, 3 in the morning.
I remember.
And get just a few hours of sleep and be back up and at it again. But so that's I've always been a night owl. Or I'd work late, then I would go out and I would party, and then get a couple hours of sleep and then get back up and do the same thing again. It was every day.
You can only do that for so long before it starts going backwards fast.
So it's definitely something I take pride in now.
Good. Well, and I see it. I see it every day. And sometimes I do the same thing with my I don't know if you've seen many of my stories, but like I'll try to hit, like when I'm going to the gym, I'll try to get a quick view of the Warren Mouth Agency because it just lights up real nice when it's dark out. So I don't know. It's just stuff like that you can see people doing that, and it's not easy. Like at least not for me. Maybe it might be for other people, but man, I don't know. It's a struggle for me. So every time you see that, it's like, all right, Jake, get at this point.
Yeah, well, and that's the reason, like we do those daily posts, like on stories and stuff, is like not only to hold ourselves accountable, but like to. Other people see that and they're like, man, this dude doesn't miss.
Yep. And if it's okay to miss.
The second you think about missing, you're like, no, I don't want to feel like a pussy today.
That's exactly right. Like anytime I do that, like, there's a couple guys that I see at the gym every morning, and if I'm not there, I immediately think those guys are gonna give me shit tomorrow morning. Like, where were you at? Did you not wake up? And it's like, okay, so I don't know, I like that, but anyways, okay, so that's a peak. Yeah, I love that. I feel like that's freaking awesome. It gets the day going. A pit. All right, so a pit right now, let's see. I know I have probably said this on here before, is the insurance market, but let's try to change it up a little bit. Let's see. So right now, here's a good one, is we are going through some areas with the agency where we're trying to get new contracts. So we've been in business long enough now that some of these new insurance carriers, or some not new insurance carriers, some of these insurance carriers are opening up to give us contracts. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of documentation that you have to fill out and applications and stuff like this. So bios and all these different things. So it's kind of been a pain, right? But I know at the end of the day, hopefully that'll turn into a peak. But that's just stuff that some of that work you just don't really like to do. Mm-hmm. It's just not fun no matter what you say about it. Right. So anyways, that's a pit on my end.
Are you guys, you offer whole life and all that?
Yeah.
Too?
Yeah. So we do anything in the work, like where my background comes from is like just your normal auto and home, commercial insurance, and then life insurance. Mm-hmm. That was our main three, but now we've gotten into a lot more commercial, way more. When I was at State Farm, you can only do a certain amount of commercial stuff. And then life insurance, we have a bunch of different carriers that do different types, like infinite banking and any type of terms.
So you're dealing with more businesses and entrepreneurs now?
Yep. Yeah. So it's fun because then, like kind of what we were talking about before we started on this, like again, you want to be able to help everybody, but you can get into a niche, right? Mm-hmm. Where you're like, okay, you know what? I like doing this. Not because you don't like helping everyone. It's just more of I like doing these type of things, and I want to spend most of my time on that. Yeah. So, anyways.
Have you guys joined any mastermind groups or anything?
So we have one. It's not even I don't want to call it, well, it's mastermind, yeah. When we pay for it. Mm-hmm. And we have basically on a call, and they just talk about best practices on how to, it's more on the knowledge side of the actual learning piece with like infinite banking and things like that. And some of the success that they have like with their clients. So that's cool, but we're not actually into like an actual mastermind.
Yeah, so I was I'm in a bunch of different mastermind groups.
Okay.
And there's insurance guys that do infinite
really?
banking, do whole life.
Okay.
And even in the real estate groups that I'm in.
Yeah.
They get a lot of business from those groups. That's why they're in there.
Yeah.
So, because it's all business people, it's all entrepreneurs, all real estate guys. So.
And I think right now where we're at, just to be 100%, is we're trying to learn it as much as we can.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of we've talked about that as our next step, because we've been doing it for about a year and a half. But when you're talking about, you start working with the smaller accounts, and then I'm doing it myself. Like
trying to scale up, you got.
You know what I mean? If you get in front of somebody and they want to put a big amount of money into it, you need to know everything. You need to have the credibility.
Yeah.
So
these guys are moving. They're making decisions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we want to have that versus, again, I don't know. So that's actually something because we'll go on to it. We'll go into it later on with a couple things that we're doing on our end. That's pretty cool. But I've actually seen that when we were now at WealthCon.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There was another guy talking about that, and I literally texted everybody. I was like, we need to get on this. Yeah. So, anyways,
there's like guys in like Tim Brotz's group, and there's thousands of members in there, and
it's a thing, man, and it's cool, and it's so. Like, I'm not the smartest dude ever, but like I can usually figure stuff out. But man, there's just so many different things that go into it that it's like, okay, this is cool, and like I'm trying to do it myself personally. Like I feel like I can't give someone advice if I'm not doing it myself. Like I need to figure it out myself. Yeah. So, anyways, all right. What's a pit for you? What do you got going on? What are you struggling right now? Either something personal or work or.
Well, I mean, where do you want to start?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, what is something that you struggle with on a day-to-day basis that is probably your hardest thing that you have to cope with?
Right now, man, I'm with my other business. I'm at that point to where most people would have given up and already threw the towel in.
Yeah.
Not because I'm like struggling to stay in business, not because it's hard for me, but like I'm in the process of scaling like big time.
Correct.
And I'm basically financing it all myself. So just like eating shit, man, like
yeah.
And when I started this process about 2 years ago, I only signed up to eat shit for about a year.
Okay.
Well, what the original plan was compared to like my vision, we ended up finding out that like we could actually bring my vision to life, and we didn't have to just stick to the plan that we had originally. So it brought in all these other components, and now I've got multiple people on salary that I'm paying. I've got a whole bunch of different third-party software companies I'm paying, and so it's just like, dude,
almost
every
overwhelming.
month is like, and at the same time, like right in the middle of it, I decided to start this fitness coaching company, and so like learning the ins and outs of that, and online, it's a lot different than like. I can go into a gym and get clients all day long, but like to get them online, there's just a whole lot of it's almost like a whole other skill set you have to learn.
Yeah.
So it's like I can teach people how to get fit, but it's like actually getting the clients. Like you have to build up a certain level of trust. Like you have to get people to know you, to like you, and to trust you before they'll do business with you.
Because people do business with people, right? I mean, you can look amazing and all that stuff, but if they don't trust you, right? Like you gotta. And again, if you're in person, right, it's almost like, you know, it's...
Well, there's that, I guess my biggest pit would be like getting on video. That's what I struggle with on a daily basis.
And it's the same thing, like we talk, you know, because like, even though it's completely different, there's still a lot of similarities, you know, because like, think about it. If I'm going to a personal trainer, like, I need to like that guy. Or that girl, you know, I that's the first thing, like, right? Like, and how do you get people to like you on social media if they don't even know you? You know, like, you can, but you got to get on video, you got to do those things. And that's hard sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
So, no, that's a good one, man. And I feel like I can relate to that as well, like on the vision piece, because, like, you know, you have this plan, and once I feel like once the path that you're on and the path that with self-development and doing all these different things, like I feel like it just opens your mind up to so much more that you're like, man, like, you know, we think this is possible, but then you actually think about it and you start getting around the type of people, then you're like, dude, that's we should be doing this, and
possibilities.
You know what I mean? Like the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
So, and that's what's been so attractive watching you, man. Like I just feel like you can really tell, and I feel like, I'll be honest, I mean, you probably get this too, like I feel like sometimes like people who are doing all the self-development, like, you know, I feel like people get poked fun at, made fun of with all this stuff, and it's like, you know, it's almost like they just, like, oh, this guy's going to these conferences and doing all these different things. It's like, man, like, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of a courage thing.
50% of the population ever pick up a self-help book in their lifetime.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's
huge. I mean, it's growing now because everything we can do online and the masses we can reach and just how influential you can be. It's a really like it's a weird time right now online. Like if you're active online and in the space, because like all the frauds are being called out right now. That's true. And they're all starting to disappear. So it's a good time for us, people that have actually been through shit, have actually experienced shit, have actually had real success in business, and have actually lost everything, and you know, people that are trying to like use their pain to change people's lives, you know, and you've got these other guys that are coming and going and have never done what they're selling.
Well, that's the thing. It's like if they haven't seen that, you know, the first time that they do come across something that's hard or something that's, you know, doesn't go as planned. Oh yeah. Right? Then what happens? That's when you can really tell about a guy. That's when your real true character comes out and what you got, and grit, right? So let's go. I guess let's just go in on that. So I guess tell us. I mean, so me and you, we met 4 or 5 years ago. You know, your company installed some cabinets and granite or in some countertops for us on a couple flips. Then you worked on our basement. The same thing. You guys came out and did that. I think you did it at my parents' place. So worked on a couple different projects together. But I guess tell everybody kind of what you're doing right now and what you're focusing on, or what your main focus is on right now.
Really, two things. That same company, my cabinet countertop company, scaling that. We actually just got a private equity debt service that we're closing on by the end of March.
Okay.
We weren't going to do it, but we were able to get it without them wanting any equity, so just the debt service only. And it's going to allow us to put our plan in motion like immediately instead of us trying to do it ourselves and refinance everything. And it'll probably take me another 5 years if I'm ever able to achieve it on my own.
Okay.
So we're basically taking that and hiring just top tier A players, CEO, sales development executive to build out a nationwide sales team for us. I've already got a CMO, I've already got a CTO. So kind of just at the end of March, I'm supposed to be able to step out of the company.
Okay.
I'm going to take a salary and just basically oversee my vision and let them put it all together.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. I'm kind of burnt out with that, so which is kind of why I started, my online fitness coaching program.
Yeah, so you started that just recently, and I feel like that's what I've been seeing a lot of. Not saying like on the cabinet, I've been seeing that stuff as well. And so yeah, talk about the fitness part, because I feel like, dude, last time I saw you, I mean, you weren't not in shape. I saw you one time running at a Warrior Dash, I think.
Yeah.
Who the hell is this guy?
When you and I first met, dude, like, I don't know if I told you this, but I was like fresh out of a bankruptcy.
Yeah, I didn't know any of that.
I went to a bankruptcy in early 2019.
Okay.
Finalized it in 2020 sometime.
Mm-hmm.
But and then in 2021. I went through a divorce.
Okay.
So, throughout this whole time, man, like I'm trying to get this new company off the ground. I'm working 24/7. My previous company, I had 50 employees.
Dang.
So like I was still doing sales, or basically overseeing sales. I had estimators, I had sales guys, I had project managers, I had everything. So after the bankruptcy hit, I literally like went back into the trenches and started just doing all the work myself, just building myself back up. At the same time, because of the bankruptcy, it kind of like personally took me down this deep rut,
Yeah.
So like I was drinking every night, just like partying, not coming home to my wife and my kids. That led to divorce. And man, once the divorce hit, dude, like I told myself, like I'm not going to turn to vices this time. Like I just dove headfirst into personal development. And like,
okay. That was 2021 then? 20
yeah.
Okay.
It was like the middle of 2021, and I was at 22.
In that area?
Yeah.
Okay.
It might have been 22 actually.
Okay.
But anyway, like that year, I spent like $225,000 on personal development.
That's awesome.
Just dove in. Didn't really know who to turn to, where to turn to, so I kind of just like dove into anything and everything I thought was going to benefit me or help me in some type of way until like now I have my people. Like I have my tribe that I run with, and guys that inspired me, guys that continue to inspire me, like changed my life. So that's kind of where this whole online coaching thing came from. Was I quit drinking about 300 days ago. Well, I gave up everything. So like all my vices, I got rid of them.
It's almost a year.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, almost a year. Yep. And then it was right around the time, like, I don't know if you know who Wes Watson is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he's my life coach, basically. I was just down in Miami with him. You seen that?
Yeah, I follow him. I like his stuff a lot.
So when I met him, dude, I basically hired him immediately. Like I paid him $20K like right off the bat. And I'm like, I just knew it was like his story was similar to mine. Like we'd been through the exact same thing as far as prison and like marriage, divorce, like just literally everything he's been through and he's healed himself from, like I've been through.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this dude literally has all the answers I need and can probably like guide me through everything I need guidance for, And that's literally how it happened.
Yeah.
So
that was 2022 is whenever you basically almost, I mean, I'm not saying it sounds like you might have hit rock bottom before, but instead of going back to it, which I feel like a lot of people can, that's what, if they hit rock bottom or if they lose a bunch of stuff, because I mean, I've gone through some stuff or been around some stuff like that, and you have one or two routes you can go, right? If something crazy or bad happens like that, you end up losing your wife or whatever, divorce or whatever, you can either go back and continue to do what you were doing and just do it even more, right? And then now you're going off the deep end, or you say, hey, that's the last straw, and I'm going to make a change here. So it sounds like that's what happened, and I don't know if you want to get into it, but what does it look like before that? I mean, what was your previous history on that? Like, were you always like pretty good in self-development and getting yourself out of those certain situations, or is that something you've just kind of developed over the past 3 or 4 years?
I was until the bankruptcy and then the divorce hit kind of back to back. Like it.
That's 2 hits, right?
Dude, it killed me.
That's hard.
I mean, I went from making almost $9 million in 2018 to filing bankruptcy in 2019.
Wow.
And dude, it was just like my whole world just came crashing down. I went back to making decent money like almost immediately, but dude, it was like killing me personally.
Yeah.
And so with that, I just like started doing all kinds of shit, like cheating on my wife, and like, dude, I literally just about anything and everything you can think of, like
it's happened.
A piece of shit doing, like that's what I was, So.
Well, that's awesome, man. I mean, I think that's again, it's about what you're doing right now versus what. I don't know. The past is the past, and that it is what it is. You can flex on that and continue to say.
So
hey,
like Wes helped. Like I guess when the divorce hit, I was kind of lost for a couple months, and I kind of snapped out of it, and that's when I dove into the personal development. But I remember telling myself that the only way that I'm going to be able to snap out of this, it's like I have to figure out how to go back to being that motherfucker I was when I came out of prison. Like when I first came out of prison, I have to figure out how to become that guy again, And so I started down that path. So like every day, every thought was like trying to figure out how to be that guy.
Yeah.
To even figure out who that guy was, because it had been so long and I'd done so much shit since then. So I started down a path of like figuring out what my purpose was, which, a lot of people go down that path and they never figure it out. And then I meet Wes, and Wes says that like every man's purpose is to become the individual that you admire and then give that person to the world.
Okay.
I'm like, dude, that's it. Like, that's my fucking purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have a testimony. I have a story. Like, I've been through so much pain. I've been through about every part of pain that somebody can go through in their life. So if I've been able to heal myself of all that pain, it should be a no-brainer. I can turn around and help other people do the same.
Yeah, and that too.
So that's where the coaching came in.
Okay. So that's the coaching of just basically. I mean, again, because I talked to somebody just the other day. They personal trained with a guy over here, and I was like, what do you like about it? This guy's in pretty good shape. He's like, man, I talk to this guy. He's like, I can use him as a friend. I can use him as like if I need advice, he's a younger guy. He's like, he's there for me, and it's just being in that circle of guys and girls, a group of people that have like-minded mindsets with that. And then on your end, if you tell me if I'm right or wrong here, like if you're a coach, you can provide that. Yeah. I mean, that's probably a purpose. It's not about the money that comes with it.
Man, it's fulfilling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why, like my other company, man, I know that like the exit, like so we have a 3-year exit plan with that. And the money's gonna be good, but it's just like the money doesn't fulfill me anymore. Correct. Yeah. I want the money.
Gotta have money.
I'm gonna make the good money coaching. I'm gonna make the money on the exit. I've got a bunch of crypto that's so that was like probably one good thing I did financially in the last 5 years was
one thing and I think we talked about this a little bit. One thing that I got out of this conference that we were at was that they said, if we can work ourselves up, we can motivate ourselves, get ourselves jacked up to go play a game of football or lift a heavy weight or whatever it is, just get ourselves super jacked up. But they say as high as you go is as low as you go, right? So you can be on top of the world, but it can also be the exact opposite there. And that's where you're working off emotions, right? You're getting fired up off emotions. And if you don't figure out your purpose and your vision, you're going to have a roller coaster of a life, basically. You're going to go as high as you want, but you're going to, like I said, as soon as you get up there, you're going to be down at that low as well. Versus if you can have a clear vision and a purpose on what you actually want, not saying that you're not going to have your ups and downs, but it's not going to be as intense, and you're going to be more consistent all around the board, which will help with really everything that you're doing. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So, dude, that's awesome.
So they say your subconscious is the authentic voice of God. And so if you listen to that and let regret be your guideline, listen to your subconscious and align your actions with that, then you're in alignment with your purpose. So,
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. My other question is like, what are your thoughts on self-development? I feel like that's a huge part of what you do on a day-to-day basis, and you don't just talk it, you walk it. You know what I mean? So,
dude, I think it's everything.
Yeah.
And I think especially in 2024, if you're not working on becoming your best self, if you're not progressing, you're regressing. There is no shadow on the fence. There is no in the middle. There is, me personally, I like to only do shit that's uncomfortable for me.
Okay.
And the reason I dove in head first to personal development this time around was because most people, when things get hard, they resort to things that make them feel good. Mm-hmm. And the number one, I would say the number one thing I took away from prison was if it's harder for me to do it, it's probably best for me to do it. So in my journey to figuring out who that guy was that came out of prison, that's what I told myself, is like, when it gets hard for me, I want to do what's harder. You know what I mean? Like, I only want to do the next hardest thing because I know it's going to be best for me.
Yeah.
So I know that anytime now that I get in that situation, that's what I tell myself. Like, everybody's minds resorts to like doing something that makes them feel good because it's temporary. It'll make you feel better temporarily. But so I try to listen to my subconscious and be like, that's only temporary. It's not really going to take away my pain. It's not going to solve my problem. But I know if I go over here and do this hard shit, if I do what's hard for me to do, that's probably my answer.
And that's almost going to be more rewarding than you want. Just beat that feeling of not doing that. You go do something that's hard, that's been on your mind. Yeah. You did that, and now, or you check that off your box, and now you're like, okay, now I actually feel good.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a good point. Because you're right. Like, think about.
It also puts you in flow state. Like, helps you think clearly. So like, then you can think about whatever it is that you're dealing with.
Well, and then you don't beat yourself up about it, right? Because like, if you go and do something and you're like, oh wow, like things are hard. I had a stressful day. I'm gonna have a drink, or I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do that, and then you're like, I shouldn't be doing that, but I'm gonna do it anyways. It's just one time, and then the next day you're like, you almost feel down on yourself, and it's just then you just start kind of going down the wrong hill there. Like, I feel like it can just tumble.
Yeah, that was me every day, man. Like, when I was working in the field, I'm like, it's been such a long day. Like, I need a drink.
I deserve it. Like, I
sit
haven't
at my
done this in a
computer
while.
and be like, fuck, my fucking brain's fried. I need a drink.
Yep.
Now it's like there is no other option. It's like I'm straight to the gym, or if I'm at home, I have a gym in my basement. Like, I'm getting a workout in. Yeah. That's the only option I give myself to resort to.
That's awesome.
That's it. Like,
and that's hard.
Isn't even an option. Like, it doesn't even become a thought in my head anymore.
Yeah.
Just because I cold turkey. Like, I cold turkey alcohol, cocaine, and Adderall. Like, all at the same time. Just cold turkey and said, fuck it.
That's hard.
So
I feel like that's very hard. Yeah. And it's almost 300, you said 360 days? 300? 300 days. 300 days. Yeah. So it's coming up on a year, man. Yeah. That's so awesome. I'm assuming that's got to lead in. I mean, I feel like you owe yourself credit for that, but I feel like, again, what's your thoughts on being around other people? Like, I feel like you are who you surround yourself with.
Yeah, for sure, man. I don't surround myself with a lot of people. Well, really here in town. I plan on moving to Miami in the next 3 years, but really, man, all the people I've met online that have been a positive influence is really like the only people I surround myself with. The mastermind groups that I join, like, I go to multiple events every year that I'm traveling to. So those are my people.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I think that's what I mean. Like, I've even heard the thing that, whenever you're going down this path, it can almost feel a little lonely because you don't have that many people around there
100%.
or around you doing that. And that's where, getting in places like this, because again, like you're talking about when you're at a conference, right? And there's 2,000 people there, and you think everybody's on that same page, and then the conference ends and everybody goes across the country.
Oh, yeah.
And then then you go back to the normal. And nothing wrong with that. Like if people can live that and they're fine with that, that's great. I definitely feel like they don't know what they're missing out on this side, right? But it gets lonely because you're like, man, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna help this, but then you kind of start to fall back. And if you don't continue to do those things, you can go to a conference once and say, I went to a conference, I'm self-developing now. You got to continue to do that. No,
you have to have a routine. You have to be disciplined. You have to have a daily program that you follow, or else it's a lot of people that even like pay coaches like me to get on a program, like they'll want to get on a 30, 60, or 90-day program because they'll put this belief in their head that they can't afford it for any longer than that, or that's all they need. But 30, 60, and sometimes even 90 days just isn't long enough to create sustainable habits or to reprogram your subconscious to where like these things just become a new normal for you.
Yeah.
And then so once they get off the program, they slowly just fall back into their old ways.
Yep.
And then it's like, because you're not developing the habits or the mindset that you need to make it sustainable. So,
dude, that's so right, and it makes total sense because we've been friends, like I said, for a while on Facebook at least, or like seeing each other's stuff, like, and it is, man, like you can tell, like, I mean, it's consistent, and that's what it takes because you see guys that will do it for a month, and I'm just like, I can get on Instagram or do these certain things and I get pretty active and then I fall off. Like, and you have all these excuses that you tell yourself, and it's realistically like you just have to do it. Yeah. And it's hard. Yeah. So, dude, that's props to you, bro. Like, and you look great. Like, I just continue to look at your bicep arms or your biceps right now. Like, it's like, dude, you look really good. So, that's so refreshing to hear and to see like what you're doing. So, yeah, dude, kudos to you, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, so me and you met 4 or 5 years ago, doing some cabinet work, countertop work. You gone through a couple things in your life, right? Made a big choice to say, okay, I'm done with that. I'm going to start doing different things. And now you got that one company. So we have the personal training, right? So how do you take on clients? Like, how are you getting clients? How can someone reach out to you on that? Because you're not doing in person, right?
Yeah, basically just DMing me on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or if you got my number, text
me. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then is that like just meal? Is that workouts? Is that meal plans?
It's mindset, fitness, and nutrition.
Okay.
So and there's multiple different programs depending on what you need.
Yeah.
What you can afford. So we've got a 90-day program, a 6-month program, and a year program.
Okay.
And then within those time frames, there's a couple different programs that basically tailored to your needs or whatever, or what you want. So you get the lowest program, you get a meal plan. So basically you get your macros. We create your meals for you if you want, or I can just give you your macros if you're knowledgeable on macros, and you can create your own meals based on that.
Okay.
And then you get a training program. Which is a 16-week program that changes every 4 weeks. You get 24 access to me on our custom app. So if something's not working, or if you have any questions, if you're curious, if like, oh, I can't do this workout because I have problems with my shoulder, we can switch it. Like, and we do weekly check-ins.
Okay.
If we're not getting results within a week, 2 weeks, like, we'll change whatever it is we need to change immediately. So it's not like
like you buy it and then you're done.
Yeah, I've hired coaches to where, like when I first started down my journey, like I've went through multiple coaches, and so I've had that coach that just gives you a plan, and you've got 100 questions, and you don't hear from them for 5 or 6 days, 7, 8 days sometimes, and I'm like, okay, this ain't cool.
This doesn't
work. What I mean?
Yeah.
So, the way that I was taught was, basically 24/7. Like I can text Wes right now, like he's still my coach.
Mm-hmm.
So like, if your coach doesn't have a coach, you probably need to find a new coach.
That's a good one. Yeah,
for real. I've got multiple mentors and coaches. So, anyway, but like I can text Wes right now, and he'll text me back like so quick, like almost immediately after I hit send. You know, it's crazy. And he's got 17,000 clients on his low level program. You know? And I'm an elite client, so maybe that's why.
Correct.
But, but no, so it's like, but people need that, and that's what keeps them like re-signing up with you.
Correct.
You know, it's like
what's the value?
You don't get that. Yeah, you don't get that value anywhere else, and that's the thing is. So we try to provide as much of value online through our content, which I'm still trying to get better at. But then to get that one-on-one personal value within the program is huge. So.
Dude, one thing that, like, just sitting here talking to you, I feel like is also a big deal, or a big, like, kind of a hard thing to swallow is, you know, it sounds like you've really accepted, like, being a beginner again.
Oh, yeah.
Like, being a beginner and learning, being a beginner with listening, you know, and just saying, you know what, let's restart this bad boy, and being open to being coached.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like that's a hard thing to do sometimes, especially as a male, especially sometimes as we get older. Like, you have all these different things that it's like an ego hit, and I feel like
you have to kill the ego.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And it's a lot of men, if you haven't taken an ego hit as big as like what I have, and back to back and multiple times, some men find it impossible to kill.
That's what I'm saying.
Like it's hard. And I work with guys to like help them work through that, like get them to see that.
That's a cool thing. I mean, that's not something we've even talked about. Like, I just kind of tell like. And I didn't know what today would be like. I didn't know you come in like, I'm freaking jacked. I'm looking good.
I didn't even know what a mastermind was, a mentor, or like. I didn't know these like types of coaches existed
until
like my bankruptcy, and then like
so
between the bankruptcy and the
so
divorce,
fast.
dude, it was like when I like realized that like I was the fucking problem and I was in my own way and I was the reason. When I took 100% responsibility for my bankruptcy and 100% responsibility for my divorce, I'm like, I'm the motherfucker that needs to change. Like, there is nobody else to blame. Like, I'm the problem. I'm the reason why this shit keeps happening to me in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, dude, I'm just like online, like
you're not a victim anymore.
Trying to figure out how to fix myself. You know? So, like, just through that process, I just go from one to the other. Like, I was grateful to have joined a couple of good masterminds in the beginning, to where a couple of them I'm still a part of that like really changed my life. So that was helpful, and then through those, like I found all these other coaches and mentors.
That's so cool. I love that, and it's crazy how, I mean, again, like if you've only been sober for 300 days, right? I mean, that by itself, like, think about how fast things can actually happen if you get super. Because if you're, and I don't know the word addiction, like for you, but like let's say if you're addicted to something. Right, that's almost like a personality thing that people have that you have. So it's like either you get addicted to the things that aren't good for you, or you get addicted to something else, 100%. And you got to fuel that. And if you fuel it with, looks like you're fueling it with, you know what, just you being a better person of yourself. I mean, is that?